All right, so when we do these, we're trying to create a graph that fits the description given, and it must be a function. So I like to sort of box out where my function should live, and I know that the domain goes from -4 to +8. So I'm going to say it has to stop here at -4. Let me make that a little bit thinner here. -4, and it goes to +8. Now, it must include -4 as an x value, but it's not going to include 8 as an x value. And then our y coordinates go from -3 to 9. So our smallest y coordinate is going to be -3, and our largest y coordinate will be 9. And it will include both of those. So I have to create a function that lives inside this box. So I can get rid of all of this, saying, okay, it's just going to stay in this little area here. Now, when I start to create my function, I have to make sure I include -4, but not 8 for x's. I include -3 and 9. So maybe I do something like this. I start down here at the point -4, -3, and I just create this function that goes all the way up to 9, and then it comes back down, and then, oh, I forgot my intercepts. That's really important. So let me back up here for a second. I have to have the intercepts -2, 0, 5, 0, and then 0, -3. So I might see something like this. Maybe I start up here, and I come down, I go through one intercept, go through the second intercept, and then I come back up through this intercept. Now, at this point, I have to make sure I've included my highest y value and my lowest y value, okay? And I've included my lowest x value. Now I just have to make sure that I include everything up to but not including 8, so for x. So I'm going to just do this. I'm going to go out until I get to 8, and then I'm going to put an open circle. So that's an example of a function. Now you could have other functions that doesn't have to look exactly like this, but this is one possibility. All right, so let's try this one. We know that we have to include everything from -10 on the x-axis to 2 on the x-axis. Now we will actually include 2 as a value, but we're not going to include -10. And then we're going to include everything from -1 to +infinity. So let me get rid of these. And our graph is going to live in this region that we have sort of boxed out with an open top. So the open top means that we have to have at least one arrow pointing up forever. So how do we do that? Well, let's get our intercepts on there. Okay, so we have -8, 0. We have 0, 0. Now we know we're not going to include -10, but we are going to include 2 on the x-axis. So here's what I'm going to think about doing. I'm going to treat that x equals -10 like it's a vertical asymptote. All right, and now I can show that that graph will get very close to -10, but it's not actually ever going to touch -10. Now I don't want to include y equals -1, so I'm going to go to y equals -1. I'm going to put a circle there, an open dot, and then at that point I've included, let's see, I've got -10 up to, but not including -10 for x. I have -1, not including it. I have an open circle there. I have +infinity for my range. So I just need to get to +2 on the x-axis. So I'm just going to do maybe this and make it stop right there. Okay, so that's one possible function that you could draw that would fit that description. All right, one more. So last but not least, so we have our domain this time is -infinity to +infinity on the x-axis. So we need to be showing that we're going to go forever in both directions. But our range is pretty limited. It's from -4 to +4. Okay, and we want to include -4 and +4. Now we have 3 x-intercepts. We have an x-intercept at -6, 0. Let me get a pen there, not a highlighter. -1, 0, 0, 1 is our y-intercept, and then 4, 0 for our x-intercept. Now we have to be careful not to create any other x-intercepts, okay? So it's really important that we don't cross the x-axis except for those 3 places. So how should we do that? Well, let's say we started like this, and I'll fix the left side there in a minute. I have some choices. Once I get here, I could cross through, but then I'm not going to get my y-intercept correct. So I could kind of hit that y or that x-intercept and then bounce up and then come back down and go through that other x-intercept. Now, if I do that, what I could end up doing then is just drawing this kind of horizontal line after we've met all of the other qualifiers. Now, the one problem that I have here is I haven't actually reached +4 for the y-axis yet. So what I could do is I could come in here and I could say, you know, let's go ahead and right here, let's just make that really dramatic. Let's make that a really dramatic hill that comes up here, hits y=4, and then comes back down and bounces. So that's one option. Now we could do something else. So let's say I didn't want to start from the bottom. I could almost mirror image this in a way. Let's say I start up here. So once again, I've got this coming out here. We're going to go through our x-intercept of -6, 0. Now I'm going to go down all the way to -4, come back up here, and then I can pretty much just follow the same thing I did before. So we have two options there. We could do the red graph or the green graph, and either one would work. And there's other options as well. So if you're unsure if one of your graphs actually works, you can always send it to me and I can let you know. All right, that's it for problem type number 1. There'll be a second video for the second type of problem.